Goku versus Jiren is not as good of a fight as the rest of these three.
I'm gonna say the original creator was right. Goku versus Jiren is the one of those 4 fights that has to go. But before you come at me with your pitchforks barging through my door and saying, what the fuck, that's obviously the one that broke the internet. He made a specific criteria for what he deemed as an anime fight, and he based his opinion off of that criteria. And for the most part, I agree with that criteria. Because that criteria was impact on the story, animation, or for what it did for the manga. If we're looking at Naruto versus Sasuke, that is a literal rivalry that had been sown into the ground from episode 1 up until the end of Shippuden. I'm not a big fan of Naruto Shippuden's ending, but Naruto versus Sasuke is arguably one of the best fights in Naruto, if not the best fight. That is a quite literal decade-long rivalry coming to its conclusion. Luffy versus Kaido, I mean, do I need to say anything? Like, this was something that was being built up, and fair enough, you could make the argument that so was Goku versus Jiren. But we knew about Kaido way earlier than we knew about Jiren and Dragon Ball. As for Gojo versus Sukuna, people are going to say that has to go, and honestly, if it's an anime fight only, you couldn't make that argument because it hasn't been animated yet. But when I tell you there was murals painted in multiple different countries for the end of that fight, like, people were deadass crying at the end of that thing just because. This is not to say that Goku versus Jiren wasn't impressive. The issue comes in that the fight was never Goku versus Jiren. It was Goku versus Jiren, break. Goku versus someone else, break. Goku versus Jiren, break. Goku and Frieza and Android 18 versus Jiren. With the other 3, it was Luffy versus Kaido, Luffy lost. Luffy versus Kaido, Luffy wins. Gojo versus Sukuna was just Gojo versus Sukuna and then Sukuna versus everyone else. But that Gojo versus Sukuna fight ended with what happened, being Gojo RIP'd, unfortunately. But in terms of those 4 fights, in terms of, you could argue cultural significance, sure, the Goku versus Jiren was the most impactful. But in terms of the best fights and the criteria he gave, I believe that is the fight that has to go.